My nose is always clean. Don't give me that look. You know what I mean. He snorted and continued to sniff. I quit my job so I could write full-time and finish our next book, not so you could hound out trouble. No distractions, no mysteries, nothing. We're going to lie low and focus on writing. Besides, nothing ever happens in Crosbyville, Bailey. This time, Bailey didn't bother lifting his nose off the ground. He grunted and continued sniffing. I rolled my eyes. The sun was setting, and it was unseasonably cool, but I didn't worry about walking Bailey in the evening. Bloodhounds were gentle giants, but to those unfamiliar with the breed, they seemed intimidating. At close to 100 pounds, Bailey looked like a threat. I knew he didn't have an aggressive bone in his body, but strangers didn't know that. Bloodhounds weren't known for their ability to protect, but there was still something about having so much muscle on the end of the leash that filled me with confidence. "Priscilla Cummings! How's Crosbyville's budding author?" A familiar voice called out nearby, and I whipped around toward the source. Lucas Harrison flashed a blindingly white, toothy smile as though he were auditioning for a toothpaste commercial. Lucas was the owner of Harrison Real Estate Properties. He was tall, with unnaturally tanned skin that reminded me of leather, and dark hair, dark eyes, and a large dark mustache, which was probably intended to distract from a prominent nose. Like Magnum P.I. from the 1980s TV show with Tom Selleck, Lucas Harrison wore shorts and Hawaiian shirts whenever the northwestern Indiana weather permitted. I'd known him since our high school days. "Good evening, Lucas." I wondered if he'd heard me talking out loud. How long had he been there? "You talking to yourself?" he chuckled. Drat. "No, I was talking to Bailey." I forced myself to smile in the hopes that talking to my dog didn't make me seem crazier than if I'd been talking to myself. Based on the confused look on his face, I knew two things. First, he hadn't read my book, because, second, he had no idea who Bailey was. "Bailey, my dog," I pointed. His smile was frozen on his face. After a moment, he shook it off. "Well, are you ready to sign your life away? We close tomorrow at 11. The idea of buying my first house was both thrilling and terrifying at the same time. My heart raced while my stomach did flips. "Absolutely," I lied. "Are you out walking alone tonight? That's not safe. Crosbyville isn't the quiet little hamlet that it once was, and you have to be careful. Maybe I should walk you home. It's never good for an attractive woman to be out by herself at night." He grinned, but it looked like a grimace, and I forced myself not to frown and back away. "I'm not alone. I've got Bailey." Again, he looked confused for a split second until it registered with him that Bailey was my dog. He gazed at Bailey, who had stopped sniffing the ground. They looked at each other like two prize fighters. Eventually, Lucas must have realized that he wouldn't stand a chance in a one-on-one battle and glanced away. "If you're sure, then I'll be on my way. Don't forget to bring a certified check to the title company tomorrow." He gave Bailey a sideways glance and hurried on his way. When he was out of sight, I released a sigh of relief. Given a choice between being alone at night fending off Lucas Harrison, whom we used to call the Octopus back in high school, or a serial killer, I'd probably rather take my chances with the serial killer. With a population of around 30,000, Crosbyville wasn't exactly a mecca for crime. Having spent most of my life here, I felt as safe walking the streets at night as I did in broad daylight. Although my Aunt Agatha often reminded me that this was the 21st century, and even though Crosbyville may not have produced an axe-wielding murderer yet, there was nothing preventing criminals from hopping in their cars and driving to town. Personally, I think a killer would find a better selection of victims in a bigger town, but rather than argue with